Yeah. Coming through, signals clear. Aw, yeah. It's Geocache Talk. Woo!
It's time for Geocache Talk. Whether you are at work, in the car, or wherever you are, we hope you enjoy this show about the great sport of geocaching. If you're watching live on YouTube, you can be part of the adventure tonight in the chat room and participate with others as they watch the show. If you are listening later, please give it a like and subscribe on your favorite podcasting app so that you can get all of the weekly Geocache Talk goodness.
Big thanks to Joshua, the geocaching vlogger, for our new opening, and our featured patrons, 3 Happy Campers, Team Ewart, Atreides, 78723, Logwork, Mikaput, TT0, TTO2, 0 Ridland Kid, 0 Ridland Kid 0, I'll get it right, Geocaching Adam, Thumper G, and TX Care Bear, Oil Bear 125, and our new patrons, Demac 04, OLB 1992, CP 590, Swifty Golden, the Pizza Ninja, and we are welcoming back Geocache. Let's say it just right. Not Geocache, it's Geocache. If you'd like to become a patron, click on the Become a Patron heart on the front page of the Geocache Talk website, or head over to patreon.com/Geocache Talk for more details. Patrons get the now famous blackout coin.
I'm still holding on. Look at that. Mine's special. This is a limited edition.
Oh,
It's
wow. Look at that
invisible.
one. Wait.
It's a magic invisible one.
Clear.
Look at that.
Yeah,
thing.
it's the clear version.
That's pretty sweet.
I need one of those.
And then, of course, for this year, what we're doing for the Lock and Lock and the Golden Ammo Can subscribers, that's the $5 and the $10. I should mention, because I never really talk about those folks. Those are the ones at the other levels. They get the blackout coin, and they can get one of any of the new ones. Ooh.
There you go. Build the collection up.
So,
Plus, obviously, other stuff as the year goes on.
Oh, yeah.
We generally send them one of our brand new books when they come out, and
hey, Chad, look at that
fun
one.
Stuff.
That one's cool. I like that one.
You like that
I
one?
need one of those too.
What is that one? I didn't know we kept that in the collection.
That's the best one out of all of them.
I'm showing the Gadget Talk one.
I'm not being biased or anything, right?
Bounce Bounce is with us tonight to talk about the making caches, and we're going to talk about lots of different things. A little bit about obviously what's coming up next week, but thanks, Chad, for being on with us tonight.
Oh yeah, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Always love having folks from the network on. Jeff, it's so shiny. Yeah, they do. They look sweet. And yes, Tom's right. If you support for $1,000, we will come fix you dinner.
Nobody would want me to come fix them dinner.
That's a guarantee.
That would not be edible, but
he'll come lift your car for you.
But I'll bring you Uber Eats. How about that? That's about all I'm qualified for.
And thank you, Jinxer, that you've paused the Avalanche game to log in.
That's dedication right there.
I know there's something else going on. Please do not talk about what's going on the gridiron, because I am taping it for later, because, Geocache Talk. Come on.
So just want to point out that you're probably not actually using tape to do that anymore. You may want to move on to other kind of expression now.
It's I guess it's a colloquialism. I'm taping.
Unless you actually are, and please tell us the story if you're still using a VCR.
No.
I'm sure there's someone out there that is.
You know what? They may be, and more power to them.
But actually, mine's pretty
They also
old
cache
school.
with a GPS. So
right. Yeah, those people, yeah. I'm probably old school nowadays, because I actually have a DVR, which most people just use the cloud to do that.
Yeah.
For whatever service they have. It reminds me, have you seen the commercial? I think it's a Geico commercial where they say if you printed out directions on how to get to this seminar, you're in the right place. It's to help people not turn into their parents.
I've seen those.
I love that commercial. Oh, see, Tom? See, there you go. You just proved our point. Tom is incredibly old, ancient, so glad he's still alive, but he still uses a GPSR. So, but that's for another show. Okay. Where was I? Oh, bonus content. Yes, absolutely. Invites to special events only for patrons. Support level start at as little as 10 cents a day. Oh, there's a trick to the way I've said that. It's just a dime a day. Let's jump right into show 232 as we discuss go forth and create. Go forth and create geocaches. So, but before
that should definitely be the theme of this year, right? We don't know if events are going to happen. We do know you can still hide geocaches. So
yeah. Well, depending on where you are in the world, yes, events are a little bit of a problem.
Yeah.
Down here in Texas, we have them every week. No big deal.
Yeah. Y'all better hope y'all don't get the pandemic like the rest of the world.
Nah, we're fine. We just rub a little dirt on it. We're good. So we got some news though to do first. Here we go. So a couple things that we want to cover. Why don't we start with the bottom part?
Yeah.
So Jesse, you want to talk about GC8 Neat?
Yes. So because some parts of the world outside of Texas are not necessarily able to have a bunch of events right now, headquarters has one of their big movements has always been to try to promote CEDOs and cleaning up the earth. And that's kind of frowned upon in some areas right now, getting together. So they made another version of the locationless cache, which is very cool. And essentially what it is, you've probably all seen it now. It's convenient that they got their own GC code, the personalized GC code for this. So GC8 NEAT. That's just random, of course. They can't fix that. But
yeah.
Now it's a locationless cache, so many of us don't have that icon. Most of us newer cachers don't have that icon. They brought it out with Signal last year, so this is the second chance to get it. It doesn't start till a week after CacheCon.
Yep.
February 6th. I will definitely be doing this. And the CEDO thing is cool anyway. We've hosted a dozen or more, actually more than that, CEDOs. I think that's always a good event to get back in town. Well, this is a virtual version of that. Well, not virtual, but virtual. So you can do it anywhere, send in your picture and your write-up, and you can claim the locationless cache. So that's pretty cool. And if you don't have Washington as a state, it's based in Washington, so now you get a new state out of it. So
whoa. I don't think
what? No?
that part that you were good up until that point.
Oh, okay.
You were good right up until that moment.
I can't help it. Tonight I just feel like I should be honest and play the bad guy. So we'll see what happens.
Yes, you are. You're gonna play Goofus tonight to Chad and I's gallant.
Well, y'all are the nice guys.
Yeah. So I wonder if that's something that HQ will fix now that you mentioned it, having it locationless cache, you can claim Washington as a state.
No.
You got to have an event somewhere. I mean, you got to have a cache somewhere. It's got to be located somewhere.
Yeah, but you have to be there to.
Oh, you know what? There's those challenges out there for finding 2 caches in different states in one day. Ka-ching, got it.
I think that the actual finding of that locationless is just that. It's locationless. So
it says it's in Washington, D.C. I'm just saying. Not D.C., I mean Washington State.
GC4 beer is now reserved. Okay. That's good to know.
Yeah, it's 987.4 miles from my house, so I'm traveling a lot of distance that day.
Yeah, no.
And back. So
yeah, no. So now you got me off. What was I talking about? I was talking about something else before you.
I'm gonna put all my trackables in it too.
Put all your trackables.
All my trackables are gonna be in it.
That was like when they did was it April Fools? What was it?
Oh yeah. It was April Fool's. They did all the 5 all over the universe and stuff.
Yeah, and they had one out in the middle of the ocean. And, of course, everybody was mad because they claimed a find, and then, of course, they switched them all to write notes. Well, it's like, it was just for fun, people. Just relax. But I told you about the funny story is I took my travel bug on my car and stuck it out in the ocean. That part was never changed. I got all those miles on there. Not that I care. I don't really follow my travel bugs, how many miles it's ever been. That's no big deal. But
Aaron says, my locationless caches are in their own states or countries, but they don't color in my maps for them. That's interesting.
Okay.
I don't know how they work that.
Ryan thinks he still has his car in the plaque virtual. I wonder who did that.
I don't know who would do that.
Maybe a
shenanigans. But the truth is that it is still in there. So that virtual contains a travel bug.
You want to tell people what you did? You want to explain yourself?
Nope.
Maybe I will then. Okay.
Nope. I'm not being helpful tonight.
So Jesse, he loves to do little shenanigans. So we were in Kansas during a undisclosed period of time when we were putting in the plaque at Mingo. And I remember getting back in the car with Jesse, and he goes, "Hey, guess what I did?" And he said, "I took Ryan's travel bug and I moved it into the plaque, and then we were done for the day." So that was fun.
It was his car. So
yeah, his car.
It's not my fault that people don't have them discover only.
Exactly. So it was good fun. Okay, so let's talk about Worldwide Cache Con. Before we talk about it, though, what if I gave everybody a little tease, a little priming of the pump to get everybody excited about it? So here we go.
I'm happy to talk about it a little bit.
Hola, saludos desde España. Hi, greeting from Spain to the friends of the Worldwide CacheCon 2021.
G'day Gary, Jesse and the rest of the Geocache Talk crew. Semi Shell here, the Aussie geocacher, coming to you straight from Australia. Now what's caching like down under you ask? Well, I'll show you.
So on January 30th, the Geocache Talk Network is putting on something that will be called a Worldwide CacheCon 2021.
Finds be many, and your DNFs be few.
We have dozens of really cool videos and guests and co-hosts and all sorts of crazy stuff that we're doing for those 8 hours. We've got the wonderful, crazy stuff that we've put together so far. Chad's got some great video that he's got that he was able to get. Really, you're the only person that's been, who's not staff, and even the staff don't go into headquarters. So, Chad, you really are the only person, other than Brian and maybe a couple people, that have even been inside headquarters for, probably 9 months.
Yeah, it was empty. I think there was only 5 employees there, and they said that was a busy day because they had meetings.
Oh, right.
So yeah. So yeah, I was lucky. I got to go to HQ to
awesome.
record the video during this pandemic.
Yeah, so that's going to be fun to see, and we got some other. I mean, it's going to be incredible. We've got a lot of things, and I guess can we share? I guess you know me. I want to spill the beans.
You mean the giveaway? We're going to give away the answers to all puzzles published last year.
Yeah,
Chad stole it while he was at HQ. We're going to give away.
Oh man,
I wanted to spoil that part. Dang.
We got to give away something.
Gary asked for no spoilers. No,
yeah, I had to be careful what I was filming. I didn't want to film any of the trackables that you can only discover HQ.
Oh, that's right.
And all those things, right? Because I didn't want to give anything away.
Yeah,
they were nice enough to let us in. I don't want to make them mad.
Yeah, that's very true. But we do have a lot of really cool giveaways. I guess let's mention one of them. And I'll let you do it, Jesse, so that I'm not always the person spoiling everything. So,
well, you're the one who spills the beans. I don't.
Should I be the one then to talk about? Okay, I'll do it then. Thank you.
Because you're gonna. If not, you'll end up spilling the beans on something else. So this will be your spilling the beans of the night, and then we're cutting you off after that.
So, if I have to make a caveat, if you do not have 2 adventure labs already, you could win an adventure lab next Saturday,
which is pretty cool.
That's cool. Yeah. I mean, you know, how often can you say that, a podcast, or in this case, a network, was able to give away an adventure lab? So I think that's kind of cool.
Well, and it was pretty cool that they agreed to do that, because HQ typically does not give anything away in a lottery style system.
No.
So this is a really special event that we've partnered with them on, and they wanted to add something to it without violating any kind of rules. They have a lot of rules. So they're trying to make it fair for everybody, but this is truly a worldwide event. So they wanted to sweeten the pot a little bit, right?
Yeah, it is a 5 location one, Ryan was asking, but hey, it's just, Derek needs to make a spill the beans buffer. That's funny. I don't know. I don't think that's accurate.
We can't talk about that.
I don't know what they're talking about behind you there. That's not, we can really talk about.
That's top secret.
The signal?
Signal's over there. Yeah.
Brian actually gave that to me when I was down there. So
did he? That's awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
That is cool.
It was a trade. He traded me a signal for a signal.
That's right. So, okay, I'll stop spoiling stuff.
But don't forget the cool swag that's out there too.
Oh yeah, let's talk about that. Let's definitely mention that. So let me go banners. So gcswag.com/WWCC21 is the locale to purchase swag. So we're very excited about that we can have that.
It's definitely going to be some unique swag. There'll never be another situation in the world like this. Hopefully not. So hopefully this is a one-off and we get back to normal life post this, and this is never another thing that happens again in this form.
Right.
Not saying that we couldn't do something else cool next year like this, but it won't be this format.
Right. Yeah, the swag is all very cool. It's very it's just the shirts, the coins, all of it is awesome. So check that out, and we encourage you to do that. Obviously, it goes to pay for everything we got to pay for. So it's part of the running of the network. So
and very limited production.
Yeah,
considering the amount of people that are tuning in worldwide, very limited production run on this.
Yeah, and if you're listening internationally, it is available. We're not going to make anything off of that part of it, but that's okay. We want to provide that as a service to everyone around the world to purchase swag for this event. We're just very thankful to AFK, for their, doing of the of the swag for us. Very, very thankful for them jumping in and taking care of providing the swag for this event. And a very short notice.
Good point. AFK agreed to jump in here and do this crazy event that's limited time. So they're setting up molds and everything else for this really short period of time.
Yep.
Knowing that they would barely break even worldwide. They can eke out a couple of bucks in the US, but they can't worldwide because of shipping. But that was one of the things HQ is very adamant about, right? Like, we need to make this for everybody, not just the US.
Yep.
Sometimes we forget that there's a bubble outside of us. And Geocache is a worldwide game. So this is out and available to everybody. And the Geocache Talk Network is not retiring off the coins off this one. So
yep.
Neither is AFK. So get it while you can, because it's out there.
Yep. Ozvox said his order was submitted. Thank you, my friend.
Very cool.
That's really cool. Yeah.
I really hope this is one of those things 5 years from now, we're all at Megas and we see somebody sporting the shirt or the coin, and other people are like, what? New cachers are like, what is that? And they're like, let me tell you, the world was locked down. Nothing could happen. And we got to do this fun event. Everybody, just one-time fun event. So, and I hope people don't believe it because it's been so long.
Oh, absolutely. And as you mentioned about the worldwide, that we talked about that, and when this was kind of in the plannings really since summer. And that was something we really talked about, was that we wanted this to be worldwide. And so that was very important. So, that was a no-brainer. We definitely wanted everybody worldwide, but I really appreciate AFK jumping in and doing this on a very short basis and taking the reins and doing all that. So, all right. Yes, bounce. We did. He has been hired as a bounty hunter. He's a Mandalorian at heart, even though he doesn't wear the helmet all the time. So, all right. Let's get started. Go forth and create. We are all here, and hopefully you are, wherever you are, listening or watching. Geocache makers and geocache publishers, not just making it, but putting them out in the wild.
Especially
somewhere.
That guy right there. I mean, you too, Gary, but I'm trying to point at Chad. So, that's maker extraordinaire. We're just makers.
Yeah, well,
I haven't made many geocaches this year.
Well, you've probably made some
that I put out.
Yeah, you haven't put any out. I was gonna say you made.
Technically, I haven't made any either this year. So,
I've put out some this year, made and put out, but this is the Geo way. I like it. Thanks, Daniel.
That's great.
I appreciate you. Yes, it is. You're exactly. Yes. Well, I don't know what you're seeing, Ozvox.
Yeah,
we're not sure about what you're seeing back there, buddy.
That's just that's one of those green screen backgrounds. It's not real.
Yeah. It's not real.
None of this is real.
Downloaded it off the internet somewhere.
We're gonna talk about all the various parts of it, but one of the things that I think really is important tonight is, why would you want to make a cache? And I think that I'm going to let Chad kind of talk about what's the benefit of making a cache, or what do you benefit from it?
To me, myself, what I benefit from making a cache is reading people's logs, hearing or reading in their logs what kind of experience I brought to the person finding the cache. That to me is the only reason why I put them out. In fact, I was just talking to HQ of that. I'm actually going to archive some of my higher favorited ones here soon and republish them with new caches, because I enjoy the logs more than the favorite points now. And once it's been out there for so long, it doesn't get found anymore. And so I'd rather republish it, refresh the game board, and read new logs. Right? I have so many caches and ideas and things that I've made that I can stick in that same area, and it's a completely different experience.
Right.
So to me, that's why I'd make a cache.
Right.
Personally, yeah.
No, that's good. Yeah. You know, I think that people who don't make caches, I think are missing out on the fun and the excitement and the adventure of putting a cache out. And I think it's kind of like when you try to explain to somebody why geocaching is so great. And we all kind of have our own little story of why it's great because we know it's great, but we're trying to explain to others about it. We're kind of in the same boat. We're trying to explain to people who don't put caches out. They're like, well, so what? You're like, no. It is wonderful to put out caches. It is its own adventure and it's such a different way that for those that who cache and don't put them out, they're missing an entire aspect of the whole story, you know.
Yeah, and now I'm working with other cachers that don't have the exposure as I do. You know, being close to Seattle, a lot of people visit HQ and they find high favorited caches.
Right.
And so, in fact, my next one's going to go out. I'm going to have DJW House and I are going to put it out.
Oh, cool.
So he actually, you know, these people that are out in the middle of nowhere that doesn't, you know, they make incredible caches. You know, probably way better than my caches, but they don't have the people, you know, that visit there or anything like that, you know, the exposure. So if I can partner up with some of them and stick them out in this area, then people will get to know their name and then find out where they live and find more of their caches. And I think that's important as well.
Yep. Go ahead. You want to read that one?
Yeah. Tom asked this one, and this is pretty good. Do you remember the feeling you had the first time you submitted a cache for review?
Oh yeah. You're just like,
not only that, once it published, waiting for the first person to find it.
Yes.
You're like hitting refresh. Somebody find this thing, refresh.
Yes. I remember.
I was excited for my first one, and it was a light skirt.
Well, but you know, hey, you got to start somewhere.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't know what else to do. I wanted to stick something out, you know, contribute to the game. And so I started with light skirts, and then, you know, it takes time to build other ones. And then I've archived all those obviously by now, but
sure.
Yeah, I was very excited. In fact, one of mine that I'm getting ready to archive, when I stuck it up, it's on a loading dock and I have a storage room right there. And I stuck my GoPro up there and watched it on my phone to see what the people did when they came and found it. So I thought that was actually pretty cool.
That is awesome. Yeah.
It's kind of stalking them silently.
We have a lot of video.
What's that?
Huh?
Still have the video of where you're watching them?
No, I just watched it live on the GoPro. I didn't record or anything like that. So
that's funny.
Wasn't thinking about it.
And we do have a lot of cool makers in the house tonight. You mentioned DJW House. He is with us tonight.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking with Ryan at the moment, but then we've also got Adi.
Yes.
Is in here. So
he makes incredible caches as well.
Yes. These people are like the heroes of geocaching. They really are.
Mm-hmm.
So they're my heroes in geocaching, at least. So
just finding our way does a lot of great gadget caches on there.
Yeah, Dan mentioned about going out meeting the FTF in person. That's always kind of fun. I won't tell the whole story, but I was out at one that I had placed, got published, and then realized I needed to correct a little bit of it before somebody found it. When I got out there's people. It was at midnight, and they're out with their flashlights, and you could see them checking the tree and all that. And so I had to walk up and go, I have the cache in my hand because I had to fix it, but they were fine. It was good. It was good. It was fun. It was fun to see and talk to people. They were okay with it. They were just, it was kind of funny. So, long story. We'll tell you someday. Okay. So, you're not my hero. I said, make me hear a sandwich. Oh, okay. I'm understanding you now. Okay. So I'm going to share there's a new the screen's changed for those that haven't made one lately. I don't know if you've seen the new page, but I'm going to show it and we're going to kind of talk through it. And Jesse's going to try to shoot our wheels off. That's the plan.
I would never do anything like that. Before I'm not gonna say anything.
Okay,
but it does go well with the cache owner dashboard also.
Yes, it does.
But we're not really getting into that as much tonight. We're talking about this part of it because they've definitely improved this one.
They did. It's kind of neat. So, especially if you're brand new to hiding, which, we don't want to come off as, being arrogant or uppity or anything like that. Because if you've never hidden one, that's what tonight's about. We want to welcome you with open arms to making and creating and publishing your very first cache.
And so Gary's saying it very nicely, but I'll say the truth part of it. You can be in the game for 1 year. You can be in the game for 20 years. That doesn't mean you hide good caches.
No.
There are people out there that have been in the game for 20 years, found 50,000 caches, and hide terrible caches. And yes, there are terrible caches. Everyone's smiley, but there are terrible ones. Gary and Chad are too nice to say that, but I get to say it tonight. So
yeah.
And there's some brand new cachers that blow other cachers away on their hides. I mean,
that's very true.
Amazing.
Yeah. So the page has changed a little bit. Of course, it comes up. There's my page. I've hidden 239. Now you have to remember some of those are archived and some of them are events and etc. So, but anyway,
it's not active caches.
No, but I like the fact that it shows that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got a little video over here about making favorite point worthy caches. We appreciate Geocache, geocaching.com doing that.
Mm-hmm.
So something to remember is it comes up and says hide a cache or host an event. You got to remember those are, got to do both. You need to hide caches and host events too. So
I would say that everybody should do, and I'll get an argument here, but everybody should do one of every type.
Oh,
both events, CEDOs and regular events, not megas. That's just for insane people.
Right.
But host CEDOs and host regular events and hide a cache of every single type. If you're listening to this show, you have a network and the availability of all the information you need to hide every single type. So
yes,
there's tons of people that will jump in line to help you hide every single one of those. So to really experience the full geocaching, the whole circle there, hide everything.
Obviously, we know there's some of them that are no longer available to hide, but we're talking about all the ones you can hide. So you don't need to go crazy.
Just backdate them and hide the other ones too. It's okay.
No, we can't do that.
Okay.
I don't even think you can. We can attempt it. I don't care, but I don't think you can get it. I don't think you can get it published. So, all right. So how to hide a cache. So there's a whole section here. It says 8 steps, but in reality, there are 5 steps you need to go through, then hide it. Then you have 3 steps to complete the process, I guess is a good way to put it. So it starts with find geocaches to get inspired. Now, what do you guys think about as far as this is an argument that we could probably have all night, but for the sake of time, I'm going to ask you guys though for your opinion. How many caches should you have found before you hide your first cache?
10,000.
One. Go low.
There's a wide range right there.
So here's the answer that again. Well, you know what? Let's let Chad go first because he's going to be nicer, and then I'll say the real answer. Everybody can say.
Well, to me, it's a tough one, right? Because you do see people that put them out right away, and I think the containers they use isn't the best container or the best hiding spot, but you got to start somewhere. Me, I started fairly early on hiding them, but I think a good number is probably 100 or so caches to find. And I think when you find it or when you're getting ready to hide one, I think you need to do your research on what is a good container. There's so many Facebook groups out there now that you can join that you go on there and ask people, hey, what do you recommend, on this? But I really think 100 is a good number, but it also depends on your skill and what you do. I mean, how you hide it. Do you make your own caches? Or are you creative?
Sure.
Just depends. But 100 is the number I'd say.
That's a good number. I think that, and we're going to get into some of the other things like you mentioned about containers. We'll get into that here in a minute, but, so yeah, just finding our way. The find count isn't as important as a variety of types and sizes if all you see are pill bottles. Yeah, that's a good point. I like that. And Tom says you need to find a variety of types and DTs doing the ET highway does not make you qualified.
So that is the very nice part of the answer I was going to say.
Go ahead.
If you go out and find 100 caches and all they are is pill bottles under a bush and LPCs, you're not qualified. You still have the right to hide a cache. You have the right to hide a cache before you ever find one, but you're not going to have a lot of experience, and you're going to hide what you've been exposed to. The best thing, which none of us had the patience for, is to really go out and sample a bunch of different types of caches, different difficulties and terrains, and maybe even different areas. Get some time under your belt before you do it, or you're not going to be as good as you were if you waited. I can say that because I did it. I had caches pretty early on, and I absolutely messed up my first few. But there's no way to erase those off your stats. So it is what it is, right? I didn't get permission. I didn't do any of those things in the first part, and I messed it all up. All the things we're going to tell you to do right today, I did wrong on my first few caches because I did not wait.
Visual 28 says 100. Wow, it took me a year to find 100, and that's probably pretty typical of the usual the average cacher when they get started. Is they don't go out and find some more experienced, or as you go on, you might find a lot more because, well, one depends on when you started. When I started in 06, if you found 7 in a day, man, you were rolling because we were still using paper and those old GPSRs, those antiquated things that you had to buy an actual GPSR, which I don't think they sell them anymore. So
anyway. Antiques, but I don't know about you two, and Chad, I know you make some amazing caches and stuff, and Gary, I found some of yours, but I know if I could go back and fix anything, I would have waited a little longer and seen a little more before I started hiding caches. Just because I would love for my first cache to be like, I remember that first cache, it was awesome. Mine doesn't fall into that category, but
neither does mine.
That's okay. So,
although I don't want to discourage people who hide caches early, and this Visual 28 and I are kind of probably similar. He says he hit his first cache after 20. It was an Arduino based gadget cache. So
there's an exception to the rule right there. There's
always there's always going to be exceptions to the rules.
Now, there are some sections we're going to go over later. We're just not going to say them now. That is not a hard and fast guideline, right? There's other ways that you can improve your cache hiding, and we're going to talk about those in a little while.
Right.
Or just don't ever hide any and just take from the game.
No, we don't do that. No.
It's free if you just take from the game.
No, Goofus. No. You need to hide.
What I just go and find one, pick it up, and then hide it somewhere else.
No, that used to be part of the game
because I was an experienced hider.
There are some open geocaching ones you could do where you're supposed to move it, but that's another game.
They never got found, but I hid some.
That's right, you did. So Pizza Ninja says another thought is, should you have to find so many of a good quality for each type before you can hide a specific type? I don't know if that's necessarily the case. I think some people get it before other people get it, as far as being able to do it correctly. And we're going to get into some of the other aspects where we had a couple hidden locally, and hats off to the people for hiding them, because my goodness, there's nobody else hiding. Very few people in my area are hiding caches, but their cords were beyond off. They weren't even the same. There was no ballpark anywhere near where these people are hiding. So I contacted them. I said, and tried to help them. I said, hey, I'm going to this location that you have for the cache, but I don't think this is right. And they're like, oh, I'm sure it's right. And then I was like, pull up those cords in like Google Maps or Google Earth or whatever you want to use. And they're like, oh, that's not right at all. It's like, yeah, I know they're not right. So I helped them through that. We'll talk about that part in a moment. So,
but what they're recommending is find geocaches to get inspired. And no matter how you define that, that's a good plan.
Yeah.
Or just steal other people's.
No. But if you're going to hide them, at least you need to have the wisdom to realize that you might need that you might you possibly could make a mistake, which is okay, because there can always be things can be fixed. But just know that there are people out there. There's us at the Geocache Talk Network that are willing at any time, not necessarily time of the day, but any time to help you if you have any issues. So, all right.
Call Gary. He prefers to be called at 2:00 in the morning.
No, let's not do that. Okay, next one in the list, and I'll bring up the page again so we can take a quick look. And that was read the guidelines. Goofus, you got to read the guidelines.
There's no rules in geocaching.
There are rules. In fact,
I've never seen a list of rules anywhere. What are you talking about?
In fact, here they are. Here are the rules in geocaching hiding guidelines. They're more guidelines. Let's not use the word rules.
So you said no. I said no rules. Those are guidelines. Those are suggestions.
I think there are rules actually, but that's for another show.
I don't know. I don't see the word rules anywhere there on the page.
Not yet. Not yet. I know there's some.
Those must be brand new.
Yeah. Obey local laws. That's a rule.
Oh, come on.
All local laws and land management policies apply. This refers to both the placement of the geocache and the journey required to reach it. Ooh, that's an interesting little extra item that everybody needs to remember.
How are you supposed to know the local laws when you're on vacation? When you're throwing a cache under a bush while you're on vacation? There's no way. You don't have to think of that.
All right. I've about had it with Goofus tonight. All right. Time to debate the berry rule. Not tonight, Adi. Not tonight.
Get permission. Come on. Who gets permission for their caches?
Right. Casey 11. Does it mention the guidelines that you should hide the cache before you submit it? Now, that's something that happens a lot. And I appreciate you mentioning that because new hiders think that they've got time between, let us submit it and I'll go put the cache out soon.
Didn't it say 7 days? You've got 7 days to get it out there. I think I read that in the rules somewhere.
What's the quickest that you guys have had a cache published? Do you remember?
Oh, I think I had one done within a half hour. And usually it takes 2 days. And that was kind of a situation you had where I actually was not driving home from work. And I thought, that's a good place for a cache.
Right.
So I got the cords. I did everything. I submitted it. And I thought, okay, I'll come hide it on my way to work tomorrow morning because it takes days for these to get published. While driving home, it got published. And so it was it's like, I think 5 miles or so from here. And so anyways, I had to go home, grab the container, get back there to hide it. And there was already someone there looking for it. And they were frustrated that they were climbing up and down this hill, going through bushes, and there was no cache there yet.
Wow.
So
there's your 3 minutes, less than 10 minutes. So that's the point in that. That's a good tip for cache hiders. Make sure it's all in place. Everything's good before you click that final submit button. Stop it, Goofus.
No,
but can't you
publish the cache?
What were you saying? Go ahead.
I was saying you don't want to waste a container out there in the wild if they're not going to publish the cache first.
Yeah, well, you can go pick it up.
I think afterwards to hide the cache.
Yeah, no. All right, next one.
I thought there was somewhere on there on the when you submit it. It's been a while since I've looked at it. That you could actually click where you don't want it published right away. I thought there was something. Well, I'm actually looking right now to see if I can.
Yeah. Well, what I've done before is I'll go all the way through to the point of being complete, but not push the final button.
Okay.
So if I'm going to be serious for a minute.
Yes, please.
You normally, we're going to get to it later, but there should be some conversation before that. So you should be plenty ready.
Oh, yeah.
The submit button. So
no, absolutely.
We'll get to that a little bit.
Yeah. And Ryan reminds you can write a reviewer note. So you could say, I think everything's in place. They can start to check it and then just say, don't publish it quite yet.
Yeah.
In fact, I have done that before in that if you want, and something I've done before for an event is I will put caches out specifically before that event and tell the reviewer, obviously you get approval from the reviewer, but I'll have, say, a dozen caches that I've got ready to go, but prior to the event, much prior, like weeks before, I'll have sent them all in with a note to the reviewer saying, hey, my plan is if you could check all these out, make sure they're okay. And then he'll lock them typically, or the person will lock them with a note to themselves, or they probably put it on some sort of appointment, and they will publish them all, say during the event or right at the beginning of the event.
Mm-hmm.
That's something I love to do because it's kind of fun, especially if you're having an event and with a bunch of people, and then all of a sudden everybody's phone goes off and they're like, I don't know, you can't go find it yet. We're not done here yet. And everybody's like, oh, the caches are publishing. Let's go. It's like, we'll get to that in a minute. Let's so that can be a lot of fun for an event. So
that's part of the review process we're going to talk about in a little while, but there's a lot more to that as well.
Oh yeah. So in fact, let's go to the next part, which is they have a thing out there. It's a hider quiz. Have you guys ever taken the hider quiz?
No, but that's a good idea. They used to have that on the app, right? That was on the app it was like to find different types of caches or something.
Yeah, it's kind of fun. I mean, even if you're a seasoned hider,
mm-hmm.
It's kind of fun to take it. It's a nice little thing they put in there. It's supposed to help you with, the process of making sure that you really do have the rules down or the guidelines down in your head before you go do things. So, and then next would be to pick a unique location and get accurate coordinates. This is big. So
tell the truth. How do you get your coordinates for a cache?
Here, I'll bring this up too. So we're talking about it.
I use my cell phone, and they've been off a lot.
I'll tell you how I do it, and then you guys tell us, you guys can chime in. What I'll do is I'll get a preliminary location on my phone, and then typically I will look around and I will be able to determine where I am, so that when I go back home and I look on Google Maps and I can pinpoint exactly where I'm at. And people, apparently it works, because I get a lot of comments from people saying your chords were dead on. I had one that I did the other day, and tell me if you guys have ever done it like this, which is I had complete tree cover. So again, using my phone, using Cachely, I took a picture of the chords where I was at. I walked away. I walked back. I took pictures of the chords then. I walked away. I walked back. I took 3 or 4 spot checks of my chords because I couldn't, when I got home, I wasn't going to be able to completely tell exactly where I was because it was a little bit of tree cover. So I did take several readings knowing that I was going to have a little bit of a problem, a little bit of an accuracy issue when I got home. And the first finder said I was 10 feet off. I was like, that's not too bad, I don't think. What do you guys think?
So what I do is I stop the car in the middle of the dirt road, and then when I chunk it out the window, depending on how far I chunked it, I add 10 feet to 10 meters on there.
Okay. 10 meters?
I am today for chunking it towards the telephone pole.
Okay.
Because I figured 10 meters, that's close enough, right? You have the GPS location in your car, and then add the west coordinates. You're good. That's close enough. It's by a telephone pole. They're going to figure it out. They can't find it. They need to go find a new game, right? That makes it harder.
I think 10 feet off is close enough.
Yeah, come on.
Your GPS isn't going to be 100% accurate anyway, but
yeah.
So I started doing the same way you did, Gary, is I got one on my phone that gets me close, and then I go to Google Maps, which I have up here on my other screen. And if you can zoom in and I go to the satellite view, and you click on where you think it is, it actually pulls up the GPS coordinates for there. And those I've not had a complaint since I've started doing that on my cords being off.
Right.
Yeah. No, in all seriousness, that's the way I do it too. So I'll use my phone, but there's usually more than one of us out there at a time. So we'll have a couple phones.
Yeah, that's good.
Generally get the same, and no, they're the same type of phones. But then, when I'm hiding a cache, though, I've usually taken 2 or 3 trips out there to the location, scouting it, trying to figure it out. I've done Google Maps a couple times to see if those are close. If all those are close, then I feel pretty good with it, landmarks and stuff like that. But
yeah,
I don't get a lot of comments saying GPS coordinates are off or anything like that. But when you go back multiple times, if you go back to the same spot multiple times and get the same coordinates, it's probably going to be pretty close.
Yeah. KC11 says, under the tree cover, I'll walk back and forth several times using my phone's GPS. It's keeping up with me. Then take a screenshot. That's what I do. And I take several at that location. You know what's funny, though? And we all love new cachers, so don't take this the wrong way. And I will say this. Many of them are, or I've seen the comment on some of my pages where, oh, okay, cool. I use where I go kit maps, double check. That's interesting.
Somebody said they found Google Maps is off by 60 feet. It can definitely be off.
It can be off. I don't think it'd be that far off. Well, it shouldn't be. If you
multiple sources, that's the way to do it. Find 2 or 3 different sources to do it.
Yeah. One thing though, and this is something that Tom is getting to, but how far off is off to you? And that is interesting because for us that have been in the sport for quite a while, we kind of expect it to be 20 or 30 feet off because that's the way GPS was when we first started. GPS coordinates, GPSR was finding them. It'd be like 20 or 30. It's like, that's pretty standard. What I've found is I've seen a couple comments fairly recently from, I call them newbies, less than 10 or less than 20 finds probably. And they were complaining that my cords were off 6 feet. And I thought, funny, that's exactly what it says is the plus or minus. If you look at your phone, if you look at your app and you look and it should say the cords are off, could be off anywhere between, plus or minus 6 feet.
Well, there's one of the things they actually I don't believe they mention on this new cache page or in their videos, but it really could be used in every step of this. What you should really do for your final check is use a beta tester.
Yes, that's always a good point too.
Every cache I put out, I try to have a beta tester to go out. If they can also go to the exact same location and find it using their phone or GPS or whatever else, right now, granted, they know where it is also because they're a beta tester, and I'm trying to give them the general idea, and they may already solve the puzzle or whatever it is. But if you have a beta tester plus you've done 2 or 3 sources, you're pretty golden. I mean, it would be hard for them to be that far off after that.
Houston, Texas, Dave's bringing up a thing for another show. That's for another show, which is even after placing the cache, some finders put it back in a different spot.
Well, if you find a better spot for the cache, you got to move.
Stop it, Goofus. Stop it.
Yeah, but I've had people say, I put it back where the coordinates are supposed to be, and then the next people can't find it because they put it in a completely different spot. It's like, well,
yes, don't. Put it back right where you found it and let it go from there.
What if it's falling out of the tree?
Yeah, that's for another show. I knew you're going to bring that up, Goofus.
Okay.
All right, we're not talking about that tonight. All right, next on the list is prepare a quality container. So this is important.
So like mashed potatoes from KFC, that bucket, that's a solid bucket.
It's a solid.
Styrofoam will last forever. How long does it take to?
And you leave it at the bottom so it doesn't get
leave a little bit of residue of the mashed potatoes in there. Yeah.
I don't need 2 Goofuses tonight. One is enough to deal with. So I'll start with Chad and not Goofus number 2. The note here says prepare a quality container. Ensure the container is waterproof, durable, contains a new logbook. We recommend that the container be as large as your location allows, but that's for another show. So when you read that, Chad, what are your thoughts?
Pill bottle. Or film container. No, I'm just joking. So yeah, what I typically want to use is I used to make all my own original ones.
Right.
And I don't put these out anymore because of all the stuff that's been coming up.
Yeah.
But these are glued together, and then I put a rubber gasket here.
A little higher.
That's waterproof.
Put your hands a little higher.
Sorry.
There you go. Yep. Cool. Yep.
Yeah. So I put a rubber gasket. Obviously, this has been sitting in my drawer forever.
Yeah. Right.
A little string coming out of the end. It makes it easier to pull the cache.
No,
well, and you got to paint it red and put TNT on it.
Yeah, exactly.
I actually have seen a cacher. I think it was in the Netherlands that did that, and he put it on a Geocache page. And I was like, "That's terrible." And I guess in the Netherlands they don't worry.
They don't care about it.
That. They don't have terrorism,
right?
I guess I don't know, but something like that. You can buy some cheap containers for, I think they're $6 at Home Depot, like these, right? Weatherproof.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah,
these are great. I probably wouldn't leave it orange.
No, probably not.
Everybody will find it, but you can paint them.
Sure.
Something that has some kind of rubber seal on it, something that locks, or has some kind of mechanical clipping system, locking system on it. But yeah, just make sure it has a good seal. There's so many out there on Amazon. You can get some really inexpensive ones that are watertight. So that's what I would recommend doing, or an ammo can, if it can find a good enough space for an ammo can.
Dollar store. Yeah. You can get like 30 lock and lock boxes for $1 at the dollar store. They're great.
Are they really that great for $1? I don't think so.
For $1, they can't be wrong. I mean, they may not last more than a couple days, but they're not supposed to.
I find so many lock and locks where someone didn't close the lid all the way or anything like that. I mean, if you have a container that the lid's attached to it, then they usually don't have too much of a problem reattaching the lid. But on a lock and locks where the lid comes completely off, I've seen people just not put them on or not lock one side, or they fill it up too full and they think, oh, this will all work. And then the seal isn't, sealed anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I've seen a Sprite bottle without the label even taken off. That was quality.
I don't think that's quality at all.
Probably
waterproof though.
Do what now?
Probably waterproof.
Yeah, it was gross and sticky, but it was waterproof.
Yeah.
Get the log. That's okay.
Clean it.
Get the sugar-free Sprite.
Yeah. I've also seen pill bottles with the prescription name still on it.
That's terrible.
Thanks, Betty, for letting me know about your gout.
Wow.
I have seen now this one may be a little more controversial, but just a baggie.
I have seen that.
Those don't tend to hold up that well. Now the flat packs with duct tape are a little different.
Those are different. That's different. Just
a baggie?
No.
Probably not going to last very long.
Not a good idea.
No. I've seen a bunch of containers that I'm like, this one's not going to last.
Yeah. We've probably all seen containers that are not even decent containers can wear down over time. So I brought a couple. I got some show and tell. So this one has come back because I replaced it. But just to give you an idea, you're like, oh, that'll be fine. It might be fine for a while. This one was out for quite a while. So, but the lid is gone.
Oh yeah.
I actually purchased this one. And then over time it really blended in because it looks really old. I'm showing an old, it had a lid on top with a little container that I'm showing. And that was a pre-purchase thing. And it worked great. At first it was a pretty obvious what it was. You could see it a lot easier. Got this.
I've got one of those out there and you'd be surprised how many people miss it.
Yeah.
It's just a simple log. I mean, that's.
Yeah. But I think over time the top has gotten, well, it's gone. So I brought it back. So, but I'll reuse this part because it's useful. But I think that even somebody, who's been around the game for a while, I think we often forget. Go ahead. Was it glued a circuit board to an ammo can? Got the bomb squad called and made the news.
Hey, you heard it here. That's the perfect container. According to
that is not the perfect container.
What? Are you sure?
Yeah, Darren's right. Even over in Australia, they have a lot of mint tins. We would call them maybe Altoid containers or whatever. I call
those finger cutters. because they're always like rusty, and
they're all rusted.
You squeeze really hard, and it cuts your finger, and then you got to go get another tetanus shot.
Get another one, yeah. So yeah, that's not a good container. But yeah, let's not get the bomb squad called. What do you say, people? Let's work on that.
So on containers, those little rocks that everybody buys at Home Depot, the fake rocks, the hide key.
Yeah.
Those are neat containers if you put a container inside it. Don't just put a piece of paper.
No,
that thing's not waterproof. I've come on so many of those, and it's just mush on the backside of it. You still need to put like a bison tube or something.
Yeah, or something like this might work.
Yeah,
a little small.
Yeah, that would work. But even like a baggie and that, it's generally going to get. It's not waterproof.
Right. Very, very true. All right, let's move on to the next topic. Create your cache page and submit for review. Now, all these are all like mini. We could take each one of these and make it into a show.
Well, and we have kind of talked about all these things before.
We have.
Separately and in detail, but it's good to touch on them again with the new updated page that they have, because like we just talked about recently, and they just sent out, there's 5 million new geocachers out there.
Yeah.
They are not experienced yet. So this is important information for them.
So even they put in, and I think I'm going to switch our little banner thing. It looks better, I think, if you do it like that. Maybe. Try to figure out how it looks better.
There you go. That looks good.
You like that one?
No, I like the dark one.
Black. Yeah, the dark
like that one. Okay.
Yeah. Let's ask the audio listeners. They're going to weigh in on it. Which one is better?
You're not seeing it. Goofus. Create your cache page, submit for review, make sure you own or have permission for any photos or content you add. Place your container in its hiding spot, then submit your cache page for review, Goofus.
Okay, now let's just be honest here for a second. Let's say you're making a typical cache page with a couple pictures on it, and you do the background pictures and stuff too.
Yeah.
Does anybody, first of all, we all know what we do. We go get pictures off the internet, download them, then upload them to the cache page, right? Nobody's getting permission. Stop that. Nobody's doing that.
That's not true.
I know a lot of people that don't get permission from the landowner to even put the cache out. But
yeah, come on. Why would you do that? They don't know about it. It's public property. They'd had a fence if it wasn't public.
Now, it's interesting, though, you bring that up, Jesse / Goofus, because it really does depend on where you live in the world, because we've touched on this a little bit before, but in Texas, everything has a fence around it, except for public property. Usually, obviously, won't have a fence. So parks and cemeteries tend to be very popular areas for caches. From myself, that's good.
He gets permission from himself, so that's perfect.
Is that a written? Do you send yourself a note?
It's verbal consent. It's okay.
Yeah, Jeff brings up the point. Property laws in Germany are different too. Yeah, every place is different. So for you guys, as we talk about, let's start with Washington. In Washington, can you or do people put caches in parks and cemeteries, or just parks, or neither?
Yeah, they put them in both.
Okay. I have heard, let me ask Colorado real quick.
So cemeteries can happen. You still should get permission to do it.
Okay.
Parks here, it depends on what city you're in, but some parks don't allow any caches at all. Some do. You're still supposed to get even if there's other caches out there,
right?
You're still supposed to get permission to do it here, to do both, including the 9 million LPCs at Walmarts around the world. You're still supposed to get permission for those too. I bet maybe 7 of them got permission.
It is private property.
I can tell you from managing commercial properties, no one will ever approve a lamppost hide, because that ruins. We pay a lot of money to have those lampposts painted.
Mm-hmm.
And when you slide that thing up and down and it scratches it, that costs a lot of money. Right. And then, there's actually wire that comes up there, and some of them run 440. And for some reason, someone's digging into those wires or something. That could be a bad day for you. But I don't know any landowners that would approve a lamppost cache. But
so if you're going to do one, you need to go ask, because then you could Because if you
Who are
do
you
get
going
it,
to ask at Walmart? You going to call Sam Walton up and, hey man, you got a minute?
I'd
I have one
start
at
with
Lowe's. I
something
just want to talk to
minimal.
the manager.
Tom's saying in the cemetery, can you ask one of the deceased people there?
Yeah, if they don't object,
you
you
can.
got it.
You can ask
Can't
if
say
you
no.
want. Tom also says 440 and fingers should never meet.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
true.
There are states, I think, in the U.S. Well, I know there are states in the U.S. where you cannot place caches in cemeteries. So you need to check.
Yes.
Check before you put anything out. Even earth caches, by the way. So Jesse helped me. I was putting an earth cache in the cemetery, and he reminded me. He said, "You need to go get permission." And sure enough, those are much easier because they usually have a sign that tells you whoever's the sort of the caretaker of that cemetery. So, but take a minute and do that so that you are okay with it. So,
and without doing a whole nother show about it, your cache page, once you submit it, you should have already done all these things we've talked about.
Yeah.
Plus had somebody go out and check it to make sure that you're not just missing something. And then if you really want to be good about it, that beta tester may or may not be the same person.
Yeah.
Have somebody proofread your cache page.
Yes.
He's already mentioned in there, you will not see those spelling errors until it's published, and then everybody's seen it. So those things that you don't see because you've looked at it 10,000 times before you publish it, do that all before you hit submit. And hopefully by the time you've hit submit, the reviewer already knows what's coming, because hopefully you're doing some kind of creative brand new cache and you have to explain it or some new idea, and you want to give them a heads up before you ever put it out, so you're not wasting your time or their time. But all those things should happen before you hit submit.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, those can be fixed, but then again, why do you need to when you could just have them checked and make sure they're good?
So have you guys ever asked permission to hide a cache on a guardrail? Who would you ask on that?
County,
Department of Transportation.
Yeah, whatever your local county.
And they're going to say no, by the way.
Well, guardrails are there for a reason, right? So they usually keep cars from going off the side there, and maybe that's happened in the past. That's why they're up there. So I wouldn't want someone walking behind the guardrail if something could happen.
No. And I would be shocked if anybody's ever actually gotten permission for a guardrail cache.
Yeah, I agree. Probably nobody ever has. Daniel's sometimes they are helpful but get tiresome. What is Melanie referring to, you think? What was Daniel? Did you bring that one up?
There are hundreds of line.
So the good news is with LPCs and guardrail cache and all those other ones.
Oh, in Pennsylvania, gotcha.
Yeah, you don't have to find any of those.
That's true.
Now, when you first start caching, you can't resist, because it's amazing the fact that there's like 8,000 caches in your town and you've been by all the spots. But as you go on, you can choose which ones you want to, which ones you want to hide, which one do you want to find, that kind of stuff. Because you find out later, years into the game, you cannot possibly find them all. Many people have tried; they haven't succeeded yet. So
many have faked that they found all of, or a good portion of them.
Now that's for another show.
That's for another show. UDAC is right. In my work experience, no one wants to take responsibility for saying yes or no. They keep passing the buck. I've seen that. Usually locals, if you have local, well, I'll ask you guys too. How many? I know, Chad, you've got a lot. I've just got a few that are on private property. And they're all ones that I've, Chamber of Commerce. I asked, every one of them I asked permission. Chamber of Commerce, the Cotton Museum here in town. There's a vet that I got permission. It's really simple. I mean, I think some people are intimidated with the idea of going to talk to them about those kind of things. But I mean, Chad, do you have a specific method you take? And then I'll ask Jesse.
Yeah, I have a book. It's actually down here on the floor with pictures of what I do. So if I want to put one there, first thing I do, obviously, so I'm not wasting anybody's time.
Yeah.
See if there's a cache anywhere near there, and then take a look at the location and think, what can I put here? Right. What kind of cache? What can I do? If I have time, I'll go home and make a mock-up of it if it's real simple. But then I go and knock on the door, find out who it is, if it's a city-owned property, Chamber of Commerce, with some cities, depending on what it is, and show them, tell them, first of all, tell them about geocaching, what it is, and then show them some pictures or what my idea is on it. And that usually helps out quite a bit. Some people, because of, unfortunately, people will get hurt on properties and, owners can get sued. Some places just don't want it. Right. But usually cities and parks are open to the idea because they want to bring people in. Right. That's the whole point of the park and the city of commerce. They like to bring people in. Sometimes they'll even give you coupons to put in your cache for, discounts at local stores.
Sure.
So, but that's what I do is I just take photos of a lot of the caches I've done, let them have some input on it too, because if they have input, then they think it's kind of something that they're involved with.
Exactly.
And so, that's kind of the way I go, but everybody's gonna have a different experience. I've also had a lot of, like, the WSGA has recommended places to come to me, to put a cache, like parks and stuff. And so fortunately I haven't had to ask permission there, but, sure. I do the exact same thing.
That's awesome. Yeah. Jesse, what are your thoughts on that?
So in the beginning, I didn't get permission for a lot of mine.
Sure.
Now, all of mine, well, I had like a GeoArt series out in the middle of nowhere,
right,
on roads, in an area that butted up to a natural land that allows geocaching by policy. Right. I didn't go and get individual permission for those. In general, those roads are open and they allow caches out there, and there's tons of them out there. I did not get permission for those.
Right.
Although I should have on every single one of those. Yeah. But of late, I've been doing a lot more. Every cache of late that I've done, I've gotten explicit permission for.
Right.
For the last quite a bit of time. The only one I haven't in recent years is I had one that was kind of on a pull off, kind of in the, just on the side of the road. It was kind of a pull off. There's nothing there. There's nobody around it or whatever. There's a fence.
Right.
One there kind of as a joke. It's one of those funny caches that there's another one right next to it. I'm just assuming that the other person may have done it. That's not the right way to do it.
No, you're right.
But I've with so the one difference is if you're hiding, which we haven't talked about cache types, but if you are hiding an earth cache, you do have to get explicit permission. They will ask for it.
Yeah.
Which they should, because in general it should be in a natural area that they don't want trampled generally. So that's what they're checking on, right? You have to talk to a park ranger and say, hey, can I put this here? And they're going to double check that they're not going to go off trail and mess up an area that's not supposed to be off trail or
right.
So those you do have to get explicit permission for. They actually ask for it. The other cache types are implied. You're just checking a box saying, yeah, I got permission and I understand I'm supposed to do this, but those are more explicit about it.
Right. Apparently Christy's wanting to go out with Goofus, which I think that's probably not, she needs to talk with Jesse first, but
Goofus, find that wooded area and why didn't he take me with it? What's she talking about?
The thing behind you. You're sitting in the wilderness.
Oh, yeah. Shh, don't tell her.
But he's in the middle of the river.
Don't tell anybody you're
I'm there. On a rock. It's okay.
On a raft.
Yeah. And Quincy mentioned about librarians, and that's, I don't know what everybody's experience has been, but when I hid a library cache, it was the opposite. I had the librarian wanting me to help them. And so it was kind of like, this was an easy one because they wanted it. They wanted a cache in there. I don't know, Chad, you ever put in a library? Jesse, I know you've got a adventure lab.
I just have an adventure lab in the library, so there's no physical containers in there, and they didn't care.
That was pretty easy then.
It took forever to get a hold of somebody. Even though they were there, nobody seemed to be the one that could make the decision.
Yeah.
So eventually it turned out after all that time that I wouldn't even hide anything physical in there anyway. So ended up just being, an adventure lab. So Chad, at one point, was I
made this for you.
Oh, yeah. Show that
library. I'm sure everybody's seen it. Make sure it's still in there.
And all.
Yeah. So it's just so you'd put something in here, right, to describe that. They'd have to get the answer and either go to another section of the library or something. I don't know. It was going to be a lab cache, I think, right, Jesse? So it was going to have a word pop up.
Yep.
Adventure lab. So, and I've seen libraries that put actually their own information on the back, like a real book.
Yeah, I love library caches as long as they have permission, right? You'd hate to be that guy, but I love library caches. The CFO would disagree; she hates the library, but I love them. I love going to them. I can't imagine somebody hiding one in a library and not getting permission. That's scoundrel. That's no good right there. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, and just FYI, if you are doing a library cache, because the library will say sure, but you got to think through it. If you're going to put like I have one at our local library, it's in a reference book. Why is it in a reference book? I don't want people checking it out. So
that's right.
Think through this. You don't want people checking the book out. Now, in that case, although you never know, Chad, that if that one's not labeled correctly, somebody could go up to the front and go, I'm checking this out. Of course, it doesn't have a number on it or a card in it. They're not going to be able to get very far. So,
yeah.
But anyway, don't put in a book that's going to disappear. Just FYI, because you never.
I mean,
know.
If someone wants the cache bad enough, it doesn't matter how you put it in there, or what you do with it. They're going to take it.
Yeah, let's hope that doesn't really happen there. So, all right, next, let's go to the cache review process. So the way it reads is a local reviewer checks your cache page against our guidelines. Thank you, reviewers, so much. We can't thank you enough.
Yeah, they absolutely do not get paid enough.
No, guarantee to that. They're going to check.
I've said it many times. If I had to choose between being a reviewer or quitting geocaching, I would take up checkers. I don't know how they put up with what they put up with so many people complaining all the time.
Even me, I've done some complaining that I'm like afterwards. I'm like,
well,
wasn't that big of a deal, right?
Right. We all get emotional because this is our creative outlet and this is what we do, or whatever. But one thing I can say from all the reviewers I've talked to is they want to publish caches. If you work with them, they will help you find a way that your dumb idea is legal.
Right.
You got to work with them. You can't just go, well, I'm not doing it then if you're not going to, because we're supposed to be creative and push the lines. That's what we do as geocachers, right?
Sure.
And if you work with the reviewer, they'll do everything they can to try to find a way to help you get that cache published.
Yes, absolutely.
But they're still people. You cannot be rude to them and expect help.
No, and we've talked about before, and we won't really get into tonight, which is the fact that if you have a disagreement, you can ask for, and there's a proper way to do it. Jesse is probably the expert on this because he will disagree, not often, but
yeah. So no, and again, it's not always about disagreeing because they know the rules.
Yeah.
I've had the reviewers and a couple different ones over the years, right? Even recently, I had the reviewer. I put in an idea. So usually my ideas take 2 or 3 conversations before I'm ever even close to submitting them because I'm trying to do something new for the area, right?
Sure.
And I had an idea that was new, and I submitted. I wrote up the cache page, part of the skeleton, and said, "This is where I'm going to hide it. I've already got my permission because I know the people that own the property." And I said, "Here's what I want to do." I said, "I know this is a little different, but I've looked through the rules.
Right.
These are all I think pertain to it. I don't know if there's a rule for this or not." And there actually wasn't. And the reviewer goes, "You know what?" He goes, "I'm going to have to deny this, but what I want you to do is." No. He said, "Let me go talk to the other reviewers."
Right.
He goes, "I don't know the answer to this." He went and talked to other reviewers, and he goes, "None of us know. So put this in. I'll deny it. Then you appeal it, and we'll see what we can get Groundspeak to do." And he was helping me do all that part. So, like I was saying, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. There was no rule for what I was trying to do, either for or against it. So he had to get permission from headquarters to be able to do it, and they did let me. And there was a couple times that's happened. Because I've tried to do something that's newer or that's not exclusively under the rules. And again, he could have just said no. But he said, here's how we're going to go about trying to get permission for this. One of them I still hadn't even published yet because it's kind of complicated.
Yeah.
But the other one I got out, done. It's good to go. And lots of people have found it already. But if I would have just put it in and hit submit and didn't even give him a thing, he'd have had to say no.
Right.
He couldn't have done it at that point. So they will absolutely work with you. Now, don't be a fool. Read the rules first. You know what I mean? Don't go, I didn't know the thing. It's written on the webpage of the same geocache site that you're submitting your thing on.
Yeah.
So You already heard it. There's rules.
You agreed to it.
Yeah.
You clicked the check
You've already
mark.
read all that. You know, read the rules so you're not wasting everybody's time. Because if he's arguing with you, he can't publish everybody else's caches.
Yeah. And it's important too to build a rapport with your reviewer if possible. And Chad's saying yes. There's
no game without reviewers.
No
game. If no new caches are published, you're just finding old ones for a while, I guess.
There's
have them on your good side. It helps out a lot.
What were you saying? Say that again, Chad.
I said if you have them on your good side, it helps out a lot, especially in the future. I've had some that my cache was off and they can't tell you, but it was like had to have been within a foot or two, and they're like, "Oh, it's probably okay. We'll just publish it," and stuff. And then I've had some where I was doing multi, and I was doing it completely wrong, and he ended up just saying, "You know what? I'll redo it for you, and then you look at it and approve. Tell me that that's what you want, and we'll publish it." So he actually, I was doing it back. I was doing the multi backwards. So
right,
yeah,
helps out quite a bit when you have a good rapport. Otherwise, they could just, if you didn't, they would just say, "No, figure it out yourself.
Yeah,
it's not right. Figure it out."
Yeah, I mean, that's pleasant. They want to work with you. They want to get caches out there. So
yeah.
But they kind of need, I mean, like I said, they're human beings. So the more you can get to know them, the more they feel like you're not some stranger that's trying to get something, pushed through.
Worth the trouble because they know you're trying to put out something quality. You're just trying to work through it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing, build the rapport, meet them at events when events are back. Spend the time or send them a note, and just in communication with them is so important. Again, they're just, they're doing an incredible job. Yeah. There are no, and sort of as we kind of start to wrap up tonight, I want to say a couple things, and this may sound harsh, but sometimes the truth needs to come out. The truth hurts. But if you are someone who has found more than, let's say, 100, for example, that we talked about before. If you found 100 caches and you have not published and put out a geocache, you need to think about what you're doing. Because without everyone taking the time to put out caches, once they disappear, they're gone. And so you can't always rely on, or shouldn't be relying upon, everyone else to do something that's really, it's your responsibility to. It's the way I'm going to put it, is that it's all of our responsibilities to be involved in not only finding caches and putting them back where they're supposed to be, and putting the container back, and make sure the lid's tight, and all the other stuff that you need to do, putting the cache back exactly where you found it, et cetera, et cetera. But put some caches out. I mean, that's critically important that we are all doing that. And if you haven't yet, that's okay, but you've got to start now.
I would agree with you, but I'm going to give an exception to that. Something that the one thing on the page we didn't get a chance to get to today is maintain your geocache.
Yes.
If you're not going to maintain your geocache, disregard everything that you just said and never hide a cache.
Yeah. If you're not going to maintain it,
out there, you know what I mean? That doesn't help the community. If you put something out there and have no intention of ever maintaining it, that just brings the general level, the average cache level down, because that's just more trash out there. And that's the opposite. As part of putting out, and we're not going to get into maintain your geocache today, but part of it that's important besides getting permission is actually keeping up with that cache while it's out there.
Absolutely.
There's dangers that can come up. There's all kinds of things that can happen. Cache maintenance is just as important as all those things we talked about today. But we don't have time to even touch that today. And we've talked about it before, but
that's part of that whole life cycle of things you need to do. Force Awakens put it really well, which is being an owner teaches proper maintenance, which makes you a better finder.
Oh, absolutely. Plus, if you've hit a bunch of caches, it really helps finding caches, because I know that I've been more than once to try to find a location
Yeah.
Like, this is a great location to hide a cache, and blam, there's a cache already there I didn't know about.
Yeah.
And I will say, if you have an area that you want to hide a cache, you have a great idea for one, permission from a landowner, but there's one that's too close, take a look at it. If it doesn't have a ton of favorites and the cacher isn't too active, I've sent messages to them and they've archived their caches so I can put mine out.
Sure.
So communicate with them. And if you're nice to other cachers, they usually will, they know you, or they will. Yeah, absolutely. I'll archive mine. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
And get a good buddy that's a beta tester. Run the idea biome. You know, it's not ruining it for anybody. It's actually going to really enhance the whole process. If you have somebody that can help you put out a good cache, everybody needs it. That's not just for new people. That's for everybody. Yeah. I really try to get every single cache of mine to be beta tested before it comes out. Yeah,
absolutely. Cecil says find an experienced cacher in your area to help you out with your first few hides. That's always wonderful.
Yes.
Ryan's being funny. He has placed caches. He's just saying I'll place a cache. So I've convinced him. And Michelle, hats off to you.
You know what? In fact, Michelle, since you watch this show, why don't you update us once you put out that cache?
Yeah, let us know.
We'll put the GC number up and everything. And I'd like to hear how you kind of go through and do all that. So
yeah, absolutely. She'd be on for too, but and Tom says to smash the like button. Thank you. That always helps us as well. So
I don't think you got that right. He said smoosh.
Smoosh the like
button. A lot, yeah.
Well, we're going to wrap up. We'll have some final. I'll go around the room. We'll give everybody a final comment for tonight. But I do want to mention that a couple things. One is obviously next Saturday, January 30th, is Worldwide Cache Con, 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Adjust your clock accordingly. If it's headquarters time, it would be 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Pacific. Did I get that right, Chad?
Yes.
2 hours different.
10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Central. Yeah.
Yes.
So,
in real time, 9 to 6.
Well, if you live in somewhere in mountain time.
All the other imaginary, a made-up construct.
If you're in Australia, it's 3 a.m. to 11 a.m.
on Thursday.
Get up with us, have breakfast, and enjoy a little Worldwide Cache Con or wherever you are in the world. One thing I do want to mention for everyone listening or watching tonight. Oh, is it 2 a.m.?
Oh my gosh.
Sorry. Going to be a long night. Well, get up early because it's going to be, you don't want to, unless you want to stay up all night. That's good too, I guess.
Just an early day. That's getting up super early in the day.
It is. Michelle says
it's like my time I get up.
They do have a beta tester. That's awesome. So
that's awesome. Perfect.
But final thought is that yes, it is this Saturday, Tom. You know that. Worldwide Cache Con is this Saturday.
He's only been working on it for 6 months, but yeah.
Yeah, he's only been part of it but here's my last thing other than hide a cache. And as Jesse says, make sure if you hide the cache, you maintain that cache. The other thing I want to say is please, 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 please make a note for yourself to tell others about Worldwide Cache Con. However you want to do that. Instagram, Twitter, other social medias, whatever, email, write a note and, put it on your neighbor's door. I don't know. That's probably not the best thing to do, but tell people, shout it, go to a rooftop and yell it as loud as you can. Probably not in a crowded room. That's probably not a good idea. So
no, I think do that. I like that plan.
No, Goofus. Let's not
pull the fire alarm to get everybody's attention, and then yell it out. It's going.
No. But
it's important to spread this information because headquarters kind of went out of their norm to work with us to do this, and this how this turns out may kind of see if we get to do stuff like this in the future, right?
Yeah.
So this is absolutely a unique one-off experience. But the success of this could determine whether it's worth taking risks like this in the future too, right? So I
Yes.
think it's important that we spread this information as many people as we can, and hopefully it's entertaining for a lot of people. And even if you're in Texas, you still realize that other parts of the world are really locked down right now, so they need some good entertainment. And this costs nobody. This doesn't cost anybody a dime,
Yep.
or a euro, or a yen, or anything. So it's just all free to everybody. We're just hoping to give some good stuff out, and hopefully it'll be entertaining for people all over the world. So,
Oh, absolutely. Pony Express, if it's still around, it's a great idea, Ryan. Force Awakens says, "What's the cost of a billboard? Check your local area for a billboard and get that done."
but if you're gonna do that, let us know, because that's awesome.
Yes,
I've always
Dan.
wanted to do one of those billboards.
I know we got to do one day.
They're expensive.
If we ever get somebody, they are expensive though, so maybe we can't do that. Oh well.
Do you have to get permission on that, or just assume that it's
No,
okay?
just run up there. Just grab just
Paint over something.
pick a ladder and get up there and put a poster up.
Dan's got a good question. There's a Facebook post we can share. Go ahead.
I was going to say real fast. There's some already, but I'll probably put another one up on the page, the Geocache Talk page. I would just use the links that we have provided, Dan. So they're in the show notes, so you could always grab them. They're in the show notes. Hashtag WWCC21 for the hashtag. Of course, the website, geocachetalk.com/WWCC21. And for the swag, it's gcswag.com/WWCC21.
And on the website, there's videos, logos, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
Feel free to share it anywhere. We're not charging anybody anything. Feel free to share it anywhere. Anybody can join in and hopefully get some good entertainment out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got some cool giveaways. Post a link. Yeah, we can post that link here, Jesse, if you would, from sir. Oh, I think Jeff did. There you go.
Post it also. There we go. Yeah, so spread the word. That'll be
Giving away stuff. If people are into giveaways, you can mention that to them. We're giving away some Cachely, free Cachely. We're giving away Adventure Lab. We're giving away. There's some of the vendors have provided coupons for substantial discounts that they're not going to give away to other people, but the coupon codes will be run during the conference, and we really appreciate all of our sponsors for the event. So we're going to remind people to please go patron the various sponsors that have provided different things for us. So there you go. Yep. Insta. Yeah. Bernie. Yeah. Bernie might be there. You never know. He might show up for our,
and while you're mentioning the patrons, I think we also need to thank, it was other people, not patrons. I mean, the sponsors, while you're mentioning those, we also need to mention the tons of people that joined in to do videos from around the world.
Yes.
So it's not all just sponsors. It's not people that are, business people. It's cachers from around the world. We've got a few videos from different places.
Oh, yeah, we got tons.
Worldwide. And, once again, anything we can share with with it all over the place will be good.
We have an incredible lineup of places you've never, may have never been. Doug McCrae is going to be on with us. He's been to 131 countries, so definitely that's our worldwide part of it for one of the hours. We're going to do that. We're showing behind the scenes items at headquarters that you've never seen, because the public doesn't get to go to parts that, Chad, you got to go to, right, for the video.
Yeah.
So that's important. It's going to be incredible. We've got new music. We've got a concert by Steve Weeks. He has got new music for us, so that's kind of cool that he's provided just for Worldwide CacheCon. I mean, I could go on and on. I can't because we're running out of time. But don't miss.
And we'll see everybody in less than 7 days.
Yes, less than 7 days. The no show on Sunday because we'll spend 8 hours on Saturday. There'll be no show during Super Bowl weekend, which if you're not in the U.S., it's sort of an event. It's kind of like, fill in the blank for your own country of what everybody does at a certain time for doing things. So anyway, so the event is huge. It's coming up. Please tell everybody about it. Help us out. And I think, what do you guys' final thoughts on tonight's topic?
Chad, you want to go first?
Well, I would.
Go ahead.
Sure. Anybody out there? We have a Gadget Talk episode, if I could talk here.
Yes.
On Tuesday, we're going to be actually reviewing the listeners' caches, what they've built and sent us, ideas they've gotten off the shows, and everything like that. So we'll be kind of going over the listeners' builds, showing some pictures, giving out some GC codes, anything else. If you have any questions, ask us then. So that will be this Tuesday, and at 6 p.m. Central, or I'm sorry, 6 p.m. Pacific time.
Yes.
For that. And then, of course, obviously, Saturday, make sure you join us for the Worldwide Cache Con. Make sure you actually like and follow the page, because anytime we have a video that comes up from any of the network, it will actually give you a reminder that the video is coming up. Even the ones that we sometimes will do just some kind of random come on live to announce something or talk about stuff. So we'll actually give you a notification that we're on. So make sure you go on there and you follow us on that page.
Yeah. Thank you. One last thing, and I'll let Jesse give the final word, but if you're a trackable fan, you might find trackables that you've never seen before that are going to be possibly shared during that time that will not be shared anywhere else. So you might get to do a cool discover. So, Jesse, your final thoughts.
So kind of on both things, hiding caches, which we really didn't get to talk about tonight, but the page is what kind of spurred this episode on. And they've done a bunch of updates. So that page, the Cache Hunter dashboard, hopefully everybody's seen all these, because that means you're still active and you're hiding caches. But, again, Gadget Talk is out there. There's some amazing ideas on that. Puzzle Talk is out there. Challenge Talk is out there. Geocache Talk, obviously, this show, we're trying to give information as much as we can to help everybody hide and find caches and all the news and stuff like that. But I think if to put any different spin on it, I would say each cache you hide could be somebody's very first introduction to geocaching. So kind of think about that when you put it out there. And like, if you wanted to introduce somebody to geocaching for the first time, would you want to take them to every single one of your hides? If you have a hide you would want to avoid,
Good
you
point.
probably shouldn't put that out there in the first place.
Yeah.
So think about if you're trying to introduce somebody brand new, you want yours to be that example.
That
and if
dud.
it is, you probably put in a good cache.
Get rid of your duds.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Archive, put a new one out there. People will find them. So
Yeah. All right. I think we've covered it. Thank you guys so much tonight. You guys, you knocked it out of the park. In this case, it was a good thing to knock it out of the park. So, all right, here we go.
Folks, we hope you've enjoyed the show tonight. Please email us your comment at geocachetalk@gmail.com. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. The show can be found on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Radio Public, or Spotify, as well as at the Geocache Talk website. Don't forget to click that subscribe button below and ring that bell notification so that you can see and hear the show on a weekly basis. And tell your friends about the show. Get them involved with us in the chat room. And until next week, don't just talk about geocaching, go geocaching.
That's it. Good night, everybody.
good night, everybody.
Right.